Chapter 1, Different Identities Across Time and Space. The dark night sky. A flight K-176 from the US to Hong Kong. Suddenly a violent vibration. What's going on? Ah! After the shock, the plane was shaking and shaking very badly. A very beautiful woman was holding the armrest of the seat tightly. Sure, be careful, don't let go. The handsome man sitting next to the woman is trying hard to protect her. All the lights in the plane went out for an instant, and the plane crashed down quickly. Jun. Shu Er. The two completely lost consciousness. This story is purely fictitious, and the story goes through the plot needs, so don't imitate it. It seems like a long time. It feels like there is a voice in the ear, so I can't help but slowly open my eyes. Is the ancient gauze tent that catches my eyes? Shu felt very painful in her head, and she turned her face to see a middle-aged man dressed in ancient costume sternly reprimanding a woman dressed in a costume maid who was kneeling on the ground. Sitting next to the bed is a middle-aged woman dressed as an ancient lady. Is this filming a costume TV series? Shu Er didn't think so much, but had a terrible headache. If you can't save the lady, you will be buried together. A middle-aged man dressed in noble costume sternly reprimanded. A group of people kneeling in the room. I'm really sorry, Prime Minister. We have done our best, a middle-aged man replied tremblingly, his body trembling from time to time. What do you mean by doing your best? You are the best doctors in the dynasty. If even my daughter can't be saved, why should I keep you? The noble middle-aged man said angrily. Yes, he is the Prime Minister. Zhang Ren is also a big red man next to the emperor. Others were too scared to say anything. Where is this? Shu Er said in a very faint voice. Yunyin. The lady sitting by the bed heard the voice, turned her head hurriedly, and saw Shu Er opened her eyes, greeting very caringly. Who is Yunyin? Shu Er is curious. But her weakness and headache made her not think so much. Yunyin. Zhang Ren heard the woman's voice and hurried to the bed, watching Shu Er wake up in bed very happy. Also very surprised. Where am I? Why am I? Although Shu Er still wanted to figure out where she was, the pain in her body made her very weak. Seeing how Shu Er wanted to get up, Zhang Ren hurried over to help Shu Er sit up. Yunyin, don't sit up, lie down. The middle-aged woman said with concern. It hurts. Shu Er was curious, her head hurts again, and Yunyin touched it with her hand. It seemed that she was wearing a bandage. Did the head hurt? You quack doctors, don't come over and treat the young lady as soon as possible. Zhang Ren immediately yelled to the doctors who were kneeling. Yes, several doctors rushed to the bedside to diagnose Shu Er's pulse. Yunyin, are you okay? Does the head still hurt? Later, don't hurry up and get the painkillers. The middle-aged woman saw that Shu Er's head was still very painful, so she immediately ordered the maid who was kneeling on the ground to get the medicine. Yes, the maid who knelt on the ground hurriedly got up, and brought her to the bedside at the table. The middle-aged woman took the medicine. Come on, Yunyin will not hurt after taking the medicine, be good. The middle-aged woman took the medicine to Shu Er's mouth with great care. Shu Er had a headache, so she took the medicine without worrying too much. How is the young lady's injury? Zhang Ren asked. Yes, congratulations, the Prime Minister, although the young lady's pulse is still a little weak, she can wake up to prove that it is no problem, the young lady has really come back to life. One of the doctors began to congratulate him. Really? Zhang Ren couldn't believe it. Yes. Great. The middle-aged woman breathed a sigh of relief as if she had put down a big stone. Shu Er could not listen to their conversation at all. What lady? What injury? What comes back to life? There is a Prime Minister? Shu Er looked inexplicable. Yunyin, you scared my father and mother to death, but fortunately you wake up safely now. The middle-aged woman looked at Yunyin with tears in her eyes, with a very pleased expression. Father? Mother? Shu Er feels more and more confused. Why did these two people say something they didn't understand at all from the beginning? Why use the ancient way of speaking? Excuse me, where is this place? To get to the bottom of it, Shu'er still has to figure out what this place is. What silly thing are you talking about? Of course this is the Prime Minister's house, your room, what? The middle-aged woman was surprised and worried about what Yunyan asked. The Prime Minister's mansion. Shu'er seemed to understand something when she heard this. Isn't the Prime Minister's mansion the place where the ancient Prime Minister lived? It is so natural to hear what middle-aged women say. Are they the people who live here? Why did the Prime Minister's mansion appear here in ancient times, and the completely retro decorations and other people's dresses all appeared in ancient dramas? Looking at yourself, it seems that you are also wearing ancient clothes? Shu-er went blind. Yunyan, what's wrong with you? Is there something uncomfortable? Don't scare your mother, the middle-aged woman asked worriedly. My head still hurts, and I don't have enough energy to rest. Shu'er deliberately put aside the topic, taking the opportunity to divert their attention. Is it still very uncomfortable? Then you should rest more. Zhang Ren saw that Shu'er felt a little tired, and gently smoothed Shu'er to lie down. Then you have a good rest, I will let Lyre take care of you. If there is any discomfort, you must say it, you know. The middle-aged woman also got up. Shu-er nodded. Women and Zhang Ren looked at each other and then Shu'er and left, and the maid Lyre followed them out. Seeing that everyone was gone, Shu'er sat up suddenly, but it affected the injury on her head, so she inevitably suffered a pain, hurriedly got out of the bed barefoot, opened the side window, looked out, where she was. The room seems to be on the second floor. The outside is just like what you saw in the ancient drama, a very large ancient mansion for high officials. In the distance there are people wearing ancient costumes walking around and busy. Shu'er understood at once, she seemed to have come to ancient times because of a plane crash? Isn't this a plot that only appears on TV? Why do I encounter such unthinkable things? Obviously never believed that there would really be a crossing. Shu'er sat slumped on the ground and didn't know what to do. Why is this happening? Shu-er didn't understand why, and she was shocked. Suddenly. Ajin, where is Ajin? Ajin. Shu-er suddenly thought of something, and immediately stood up and called others' names. But her head hurts again. Shu'er stumbled a little, staggered, and stumbled into the dressing table. Fortunately, she barely managed to support her with her hand at the moment of the collision to avoid being injured again. It hurt slightly touched the injured forehead, which made Shu'er a little unbearable. She raised her head and met the mirror. Shu'er looked at the mirror and was stunned. Who is in the mirror? Although she is not a beauty with a peerless appearance, she is also a beauty of the country, with a thick bandage on her head, but this is not yourself? How could this be? Shu'er picked up the mirror and looked at it carefully, and threw the mirror on the ground in a panic. This is not true, this is not true. Shu-er was very panicked and shouted. Not only did she fall into an unknown world, but her appearance also changed, it was difficult for her to accept it for a while. Chapter 1, Different Identities Across Time and Space. After Shu'er's injury worsened with her mood, and she had a high fever for a few days. As time goes by, Shu-er also slowly adapts. This is very similar to the spring and autumn period and the Warring States period. In this era, she was the daughter of Zhou's prime minister, Zhang Ren, named Zhang Yunyan. She climbed up the wall in the back garden before, fell and bumped her head. So she was unconscious, and when many famous doctors thought that she was almost hopeless under the diagnosis, Shu'er used her own consciousness to wake up through Zhang Yunyan's body, that is, come back from the dead. Regarding Yunyan's abnormal change, Zhang Ren and Mrs. Zhang Ren invited an imperial physician and diagnosed with amnesia. As time passed, Shu'er's injury slowly improved. Zhang Ren also allowed her to go out, but only in the house. Sitting in the pavilion in the garden, Shu'er's expression looked very melancholy, the bandage on her head was also removed. Down. Miss, this is your favorite salt cake. Later came to Union with a high point. Union did not make a sound, looking at the water surface of the pond outside the pavilion as if in a daze. Miss, you can eat some since your injury, your body has become thinner day by day. If this continues, how can you suffer? Lai said with concern. What month is it now? Union asked lightly. November 21. Lyra replied. Union's expression was indifferent, and when she looked at the water, her eyes were filled with sadness. It's been more than a month since she came to ancient times. She originally planned to return to China for a wedding with her loved one, but was caught in an air crash on the way. Fortunately she didn't die. Falling into an unfamiliar era, December 24 was her wedding day, but now she doesn't even know where her lover is. Thinking of this, Union is extremely sad. Oh, what makes our eldest lady look so sad? Suddenly a man's voice came. This voice pulled Union back to reality. Yushu is facing the wind and dressed very noble. Is a very handsome man walking towards him? His Royal Highness, Second Prince. Leia respectfully saluted the man who came. Well, there is nothing to do with you here, let's go down first. This man walked to the back of the pavilion and told Leia to retreat. He was Zhou Yan, the second prince of the dynasty. Yes, Lyra quit. Lyra retired politely. As soon as Zhou Yan came, he sat down at the table and began to eat cakes very unceremoniously. I heard that you were injured a few days ago and I have always wanted to come and see you, because the birthday of the Queen Mother is approaching, so it is delayed until today, Zhou Yan said after taking a sip of tea. Union didn't care, and continued to turn to the pond and stared at the surface of the water in a daze. Whether he was the second prince or the Emperor Laozi, it didn't matter to her anymore. I heard that you have amnesia. Looking at Union's expressionless and sad expression, Zhou Yan's attitude became serious. Yin did not make a sound. What happened? Union. Zhou Yan came to Union very concerned. Union is still ignorant. Union, you look at me, you tell me, did the Emperor brother tell you what he said to you? Zhou Yan was very anxious and pulled Union right up. From his expression, Zhou Yan seemed to care about her very much. Who are you? Union looked at Zhou Yan and asked with a blank expression on her face. You forget me? I'm Zhou Yan. Looking at Union's sluggish gaze and faceless expression, Zhou Yan was in pain as if his heart was cut by a knife. Sorry, I don't know. Union said lightly. Union, don't be nice. Do you know how much you hurt me like this? Zhou Yan hugged Union into his arms with a heartache. Let go of me. Union instinctively pushed Zhou Yan away. Union, tell me, did the Emperor brother tell you something? Why did you have an accident after meeting him? Zhou Yan didn't seem to think anything about Union's actions, but he still cared about her. Union didn't say anything, because she didn't know anything at all. Zhou Yan and his so-called elder brother, and Zhang Union, the owner of her body. Do you really love your elder brother so much? You can't feel my feelings for you for so many years. Union's refusal to answer instead inspired Zhou Yan, and she seemed so distressed. Union didn't speak, but just looked at Zhou Yan, only to realize that he was unrequited love. It seems to be sympathetic. Since the Emperor brother gave up on you, then I will tell my father, I want you to be my wife. These words surprised Union. Zhou Yan said the father? So the emperor he referred to is the eldest prince? He loves Zhang Union, but Zhang Union loves his elder brother? And now his elder brother doesn't love her, so, it's a bit complicated, it's a love triangle in simple terms. But I'm sorry, although I don't know the reason, but I won't marry you, I will be out of company. Union feels that it has nothing to do with her and there is nothing to say, so she got up and prepared to leave. Zhou Yan grabbed Union's hand and shouted. Union stopped, but did not look back. You tell me, have you really never loved me? Have you really forgotten me? Have you forgotten all of us? Zhou Yan's expression looked sad. It seems that I still hold a little hope. Yunyan did not look back, nor did she say anything, because she didn't know how to answer. After all, she is not from this era. Seeing Yunyan's unresponsiveness, Zhou Yan seemed even more painful, and he pulled Yunyan back into his arms and kissed Yunyan's rosy lips affectionately. While Yunyan was disgusted by herself, and struggled desperately before reacting, but couldn't get rid of Zhou Yan's powerful arm. Helpless Yunyan had to bite Zhou Yan's lip fiercely, so that he had to let go of the pain. After Yunyan broke free, she seemed to be panting for lack of oxygen. Zhou Yan touched the bitten lip and wiped the blood with his hand. You, don't be too much, I am also the daughter of the Prime Minister, so please respect it. Yunyan was very angry, and even Zhang Ren moved out. After speaking, he left without looking back. Seeing Yunyan's back, Zhou Yan touched his lips again, although a little sad, but also a little happy. Chapter 1, Different Identities Across Time and Space. A few days later, at the Queen's birthday banquet, the Queen especially told Zhang Ren to bring Zhang Yunyan to attend. So helpless, Yunyan could only follow Zhang Ren into the palace. The lively atmosphere of the palace lifted Yunyan's mood, which was originally depressed. The plots that could only be seen on TV are now presented to her one by one, making her very excited. The original so-called palace and TV dramas, it's almost the same, but you can feel the magnificence even more when you visit the scene. Looking at the lively scenes along the way, Yunyan's expression became more cheerful and excited. Yunyan, Dad is going to see the Emperor now, you should go and see for yourself first, and I will send someone to pick you up later. Zhang Ren also felt a little relieved looking at Yunyan's expression, so he planned to let Yunyan play by himself, because Yunyan was somewhat worried when he was there. Well, good. Looking at so many fun things, Yunyan easily agreed, and when she was with Zhang Ren, she was always a little concerned about not having fun at will. Then father is there. Looking at Yunyan's happy expression, Zhang Ren is also very relieved. Well, Daddy, go slowly. Yunyan smiled and sent Zhang Ren away. After Zhang Ren left, Yunyan traveled around the palace alone. Everyone she met greeted her and bowed. She just nodded in response, because it was the first time she came to the palace and she didn't know anyone. Someone is always pointing to her behind? Walking, just watching the excitement and not the road. As two different voices sounded at the same time, Yunyan and the collided person both fell down. It hurts. Yunyan touched her that was hurt by falling first. Miss, a crisp voice. Sorry, are you okay? Yunyan quickly got up and greeted each other. A woman dressed as a maid helps her master who was knocked down by Yunyan. It doesn't matter, I'm fine. The woman hit by Yunyan was helped up. It turned out to be Miss Yunyan. It was really rude. The woman who was hit by Yunyan greeted Yunyan very politely after seeing Yunyan. Yunyan stared at the woman in front of her in a daze. She never thought that there would be such a beautiful woman in the world, even more beautiful than herself. Not to mention the beauty of people, wearing pearl hairpins, pink clothes, dressing up very elegant, looks like a fairy. Miss Yunyan. Seeing Yunyan staring at herself, the woman who was hit was a little uncomfortable. Oh, hello. Seeing that she was a little gaff, Yunyan quickly adjusted it. I just watched the excitement and forgot to watch the road. Please forgive me if I am offended. The beautiful woman is very educated and apologizes to Yunyan. Where, I am, it's good if you haven't been bruised is better than self-cultivation. After all, Yunyan is also from a wealthy background, so of course she will not lose to others. Our Yuting has other things, let's go ahead, please feel free to Miss Yunyan. This woman is the daughter of the imperial master of the dynasty, and also the first beauty of the Zhou dynasty, Zhang Ruding. Please. Yunyan is also very cultivated. Reply. Our Yuting left with the maid. Yunyan continued to stroll around. After separating from Yunyan, strange, didn't Miss Yunyan hate you very much? Miss you? But she just spoke so politely, as if she had changed herself. Our Yuting's maid Ziofu. Don't talk nonsense, be careful to be heard. Ting said cautiously, as if she might be heard by others. Yes. Xiaofu also took into account the large number of people around him, and his voice became much quieter. Actually, Ting was also curious about Yunyan's affairs, but she didn't have the intention to ask. After Yunyan and Ting separated, they continued to watch various shows in the palace. It is of course very exciting for modern people to witness the lively scenes of ancient festivals in person. Yunyan is no exception. Watching the shows, while watching the scenery of the palace, wandering around, Yunyan doesn't know where she is anymore, she only knows to appreciate. Unknowingly, it seems to come to a place where there is no one. A long walkway standing on the surface of a small lake, there is also a pavilion in the middle, surrounded by rockery, trees and flowers. Walking up the walkway, you can see a few people in the pavilion in the distance. In the pavilion at this time, Brother Huang, there seems to be a distinguished guest. A woman with a very beautiful appearance in a white skirt. She looked at Yunyan walking towards the pavilion and smiled weirdly. She is the princess of Dezhou Xingxin. Hey! The man sitting opposite her heard this and turned his head and looked towards Xingxin's line of sight. However, Yunyan did not seem to notice that the people in the pavilion were looking at her, but she was totally excited by the so-called peculiarities of the palace and the feeling of being in it. Wait until Yunyan comes to the pavilion. I have seen Miss Yunyan. The two maids in the pavilion saluted Yunyan. Oh Yunyan's reaction is a bit slow, is she still not used to it? In fact, it was a little slow to be attracted by the scenery. Sister Yin, long time no see. Xingxin stood up and smiled and greeted Yunyan. Well, it's been a long time. Yunyan still feels strange to Xingxin's greetings. But the other party seemed to know him, so he responded kindly, because the other party's tone was also very gentle. What? Miss Zhang, have you forgotten the rules of the palace after many days of absence? The man sitting opposite Xingxin did not turn his head, still sitting at the table, pouring tea. Yunyan is standing behind him. Hey! Yunyan is a little curious. Isn't it allowed to come here? Brother Huang! Xingxin scolded her brother a little. If it's okay, then I'll leave first. Yunyan was confused. Anyway, she's not familiar with them, and let's leave first. As soon as she finished speaking, Yunyan left. Hey! The sitting man heard Yunyan's departure, and immediately got up and grabbed Yunyan's left hand. What are you doing, hey? Yunyan felt very dissatisfied when she was caught. She just turned her head and thought about the theory with the person who was holding her, but was stunned by what she saw in front of her, some cold eyes, two handsome sword eyebrows, handsome, delicate faces. No, this it should be a man, right? With such a beautiful person, Yunyan can't believe that there are such beautiful male people in the world. Isn't it a lady boy? Prettier than a woman, Yunyan hides dissatisfaction in her heart, but she has never been interested in whether she is handsome or cool, so she doesn't open her mouth and forget her shape. Don't turn a blind eye to me. The man seemed to be very dissatisfied with Yunyan's transparent attitude towards him. He is the prince of Dezhou Cheng. Let go. You hurt me. Yunyan returned to her senses and shook off Zhou Cheng's hand forcefully. Maybe Zhou Cheng was grabbing too hard. After throwing away Zhou Cheng's hand, she also touched the scratched left hand with her right hand. Sorry. Seeing Yunyan's aching expression, Zhou Cheng seemed to realize that he was trying too hard. You are really rude, why don't you just grab other people's hands casually? Haven't you ever heard of men and women giving or receiving intimacy? Yunyan yelled angrily. Everyone in the pavilion looks strange. Did you say something wrong? Chapter 1, Different Identities Across Time and Space. Puff. Xingxin, the first to recover, accidentally laughed. But in exchange for Zhou Cheng's cold eyes. Hehe, sorry, it seems better to let Brother Huang and Sister Yin get along alone. Let's go. Xin was pleased to see the situation and felt that staying here would only get in the way, so she proposed to leave first, with the maid. Yunyan is a little surprised at how she seems to understand the identity of the other party. I wondered if he would be convicted for being so cruel to him. Everyone knows that offending this kind of prince is the easiest to be convicted. If it is not good, it is the death penalty, and it also affects the family. However, she is the daughter of a dignified prime minister, and shouldn't she be convicted of any felony? After watching Xingxin leave, Zhou Cheng kept staring at Yunyan. The moment she wanted to drive and lost it made him feel a little interesting. Yunyan did not dare to face Zhou Cheng, because she was afraid of being convicted by him, and she knew that Zhou Cheng was looking at herself. The two were silent for a long time. Your injury does not matter, right? Zhou Cheng broke the silence. Well, it's okay. Yunyan looked at Zhou Cheng with some surprise, thinking that she would be convicted, but unexpectedly, if only greetings, Yunyan suddenly relaxed a lot. Zhou Cheng said nothing, the two fell silent again. You won't blame me for telling my father to dissolve the marriage contract with you. Zhou Cheng was silent for a while before speaking again. Yunyan thought. Quietly glanced at Zhou Cheng with a very surprised gaze, not forgetting to look up and down. What's wrong? When Yunyan looked at herself with a surprised look, Zhou Cheng felt curious and uncomfortable. Sorry I'm rude, cough, really I don't care about the dissolution of the marriage contract at all. Since you don't like me, of course you can terminate it, no need to apologize. Yunyan hurriedly recovered, cleared her throat to answer Zhou Cheng's question, of course because she already had someone she liked, so how could she care about others? Besides, she is not very clear about this relationship, but if she really wants her to marry a stranger, I believe she will not agree to it, just like she did before. Don't care. Hearing this, Zhou Cheng's expression suddenly became gloomy. It seemed that he had never had this kind of mood before. No, nothing. Since your Royal Highness does not want to marry a little girl, it is of course not easy for a little girl to ask for it. Besides, this marriage was originally given by the Emperor. If your Royal Highness does not like it, of course he has the right to refuse. As the saying goes, if it is not consensual, a forced marriage will not be happy. I hope that in the future, your Royal Highness can find the one you like. Yunyan was scared and talked about it casually. Yunyan naturally knew a little bit about the ancient etiquette and language, and watched more costume dramas. Zhou Cheng's face became more gloomy in this case. Miss Zhang, please do it yourself, I will leave first. Zhou Cheng seems to be very angry and left. What? It's obviously that I refused to marry myself. I'm not angry. Why is he angry? It's great to look good. I'm not rare. Anyway, I already have an army. Yunyan is very angry. Dissatisfied with Zhou Cheng's attitude, a little angry. Towards the back of Zhou Cheng's departure, he stuck his tongue out. Who is Ajin? What? Yunyan was startled by the familiar voice. Suddenly when I look back, I know it's Zhou Yan. I'm dying, why come out so scary? Yunyan said angrily because she was really frightened. I didn't expect you to speak foul language. Zhou Yan did not know when to come behind Yunyan, and was even more surprised at Yunyan's tone. Hey! I want you to take care of it, I'm leaving. Yunyan seems to hate Zhou Yan, so she strode away immediately. Hey, haven't you said who Ajin is? Zhou Yan immediately ran forward to stop Yunyan. Who is Ajin to do with you? Don't get in the way. Yunyan very rudely pushed Zhou Yan away. Zhou Yan did not catch up, just looked at Yunyan. What is my heart thinking? After, the Queen's birthday feast finally began. Yunyan was also assigned a seat at the banquet, still sitting very in front. Yunyan, I heard that you were injured a few days ago. I was very worried, so I sent someone to send a lot of medicinal materials and supplements. I don't know what Yunyan's physical condition is now. Wearing a phoenix robe, wearing a golden hairpin and a phoenix hairpin, she knew at first glance. It's the Queen, and I can't tell at all that it's over 40, she's the queen of Dezhou. She is also the mother of Zhou Cheng and Zhou Yan. Thank you for your concern, Empress. In fact, Yunyan's injuries are not serious at all, and Empress Lao sent so many supplements. Yunyan is really flattered. Yunyan's words are completely based on the costume drama. Looking at how you are now, it seems that worrying is unnecessary, the queen said with a smile. All the blessings of the Empress, he, that's all right. I am very pleased to see Yunyan's appearance, and it is worthwhile to ask the Prime Minister to bring you here. The Queen talked to Yunyan and laughed. Seems to like Yunyan? After Yunyan was injured, the Emperor and the Empress sent a large amount of medicines and supplements. We are very grateful to the Emperor and Empress for their wrong love and concern for Yunyan. Here we once again thank the Emperor and Empress for Yunyan. Zhang Ren respectfully thanked the Queen. The Prime Minister is overly modest, and Yunyan is like my daughter to me and the Queen. It is inevitable to care, but I am very ashamed to not be able to see her in person. A man wearing a dragon robe, full of authority, the man speaks. Needless to say, he is the Emperor. The Emperor is too overbearing. How dare we to do the Emperor's big driver? Even if only the Emperor and the Empress are concerned, it is also a blessing for the young girl to cultivate. Zhang Ren said more respectfully. Actually, there is another thing to call Yunyan to attend my birthday banquet this time. The Queen looked at Yunyan and said kindly, yes, that's right. The Emperor echoed excitedly. What did you say to the behind him? After a few whispers in the ear of the eunuch, the made a gesture to the gongman below. The gongman immediately knocked the gong. As soon as the gong sounded, the original noisy birthday banquet was immediately quiet. All love, today is the Queen's birthday. I would like to take this opportunity to announce one thing to everyone. The majestic voice of the Emperor. The audience started to talk about it. But the sound is very small. Prime Minister Zhang's daughter has always been loved by me and the Queen. She is gentle and intelligent, so today I will formally accept her as a righteous daughter, titled Princess Zaoran. A piece of jade pendant is given to the Lord Zaoran. There are 100 court ladies, 100 eunuchs, 10,000 gold and silver jewels each. The palace has given a Zaoran hall to the palace, which is convenient for staying in the palace. The Emperor said clearly. Congratulations to the Emperor, congratulations to the Emperor, congratulations to the Emperor, to congratulations to the Emperor, the audience shouted. And Yunyan looks inexplicable. Why don't you accept it? The Queen looked at Yunyan's expression very stiff, so she reminded. Silly girl, why are you still here? Don't thank you. Zhang Ren elbows Yunyan lightly, reminding. Yunyan left her seat, walked to the middle of the hall, facing the Emperor. Yunyan knows that she is ordinary, but she is much loved by the Emperor and the Empress. Yunyan's real blessings have been cultivated in a few years. Long life for the Emperor Yunyan, long live for the Emperor, thousands of years for the Empress. Yunyan Xiang, the Emperor and the Queen bow and salute. Yunyan has recovered from her injury, so you don't need to be polite, get up quickly. Thank you, the Emperor. Yunyan got up. You still call the Emperor? The Queen sitting next to the Emperor reminded happily. Yes, thank Father and Queen. Yunyan quickly understood. Good, ha ha ha. The Emperor's very heroic laughter echoed throughout the hall. The next to the Emperor took a tray from a young eunuch, stepped off the stage and walked to Yunyan. Yunyan gets the jade medal of the princess from the tray. Juran Zaoran, Chitos, long live, long live, long live the Emperor. Suddenly the whole scene cheered from the beginning to the present. Yunyan was completely confused. First is the Prime Minister's daughter, then the Emperor's righteous daughter? The status is rising steadily. It's just that she didn't know that someone was hating her. And, Zhou Cheng, who was sitting at the banquet, seemed very upset. A grand birthday banquet ended in a very grand and lively atmosphere. It ended with puzzling and hostility. Chapter 2, The Storm of the Hunting Contest. The banquet has long since dissipated, and the palace has become quiet, because she was just appointed the princess, Yunyan stayed in the palace. For Yunyan, all this seems to be a dream. Couldn't it be performed in any TV series? If you wake up from a dream, will you find yourself still sleeping on that huge Simmons bed? It's late at night. Yunyan can't sleep because of a lot of worries, so she goes out and walks. Compared with the lively scenes during the day, the night is quiet and the palace is silent. I don't know how long I've been walking, it's okay during the day, but at night the night is dark, I can't see the direction at all. Yunyan is lost. Where is this place? I knew that the palace was huge, but I didn't need to walk a few steps and got lost looking at the completely unfamiliar environment all around. It was night again, and the cold wind blew. Yunyan couldn't help but shivered, her hands wrapped her arms and rubbed her. Yunyan cautiously and frightenedly continued to walk forward. When she walked, she saw the dim light. Yunyan thought that it would be saved now, and she might be able to find someone to ask for directions where there is light. So, Yunyan walked towards the lighted place. Across the cloister, a palace? Where is this place? Why is no one guarding it? Is it unoccupied? No, there will be no lights if there is no one. Yunyan went in without thinking about that much. She seemed to have forgotten to look at the plaque on the gate of the palace, which was engraved with. After Yunyan walked in, she unexpectedly discovered that there are many green bamboos here, and a small pond, which is very poetic. The more Yunyan walks in, the brighter the lights. This makes Yunyan speed up the pace unintentionally. Passing the small garden, crossing another threshold is the source of the light. But, just when she was about to reach the threshold, Yunyan stopped. The other side of the threshold came to talk. Now she is the princess, what should I do next? A female voice? What about the princess? She will be mine sooner or later. You just have to think about how to get the emperor's favor. A male voice. We have our own requirements, because you want that woman and I want to be a princess, so we have to cooperate. We are all asking for others, so I hope you speak kindly to me. The female voice said very arrogantly. Humph, you are still a little self-aware, don't forget that I am also a prince. You are just the daughter of a grand master and want to be a princess. This is already very rebellious. Be careful. I accidentally mentioned it in front of the emperor or the emperor. I'm afraid your position will only be more embarrassing at that time, so you'd better do what I say. You are not qualified to ask me anything from me, you hear? No. The male voice hummed and said angrily. Yunyan quietly looked inside from the door, and saw a man clutching a woman. The problem is not here, but the content of their conversation. How do you say this? Both voices are so familiar, and the owner of the voice, isn't one the second Prince Zhou Yan? Another one, what kind of daughter of the Taishi is the beautiful woman I saw during the day? It does not make sense. Why was it so accidentally heard by myself? And the content of the words? Yes, yes. Yuting replied fearfully to Zhou Yan's anger. Hey! Zhou Yan let go of Yuting's hand and turned around. Please, may I ask, what should we do next? Yuting asked cautiously and fearfully. Although I have made the premise behind the father and the mother, I am always inferior to the emperor in the eyes of the father and the queen, and Yunyan is so favored in their eyes. It seems that I should resort to some tricks. Zhou Yan said. What do you do then? Yuting asked. I have my own way, you should go back first. Zhou Yan said coldly. Yes. The little girl quits. Yuting bowed and retreated to Zhou Yan politely. Seeing Yuting walking away from Zhengxiang Yunyan, Yunyan hurriedly did not know where to go, so she hid it first. After Yuting left, Zhou Yan also went back to her room. Yunyan dared to come out. Although I don't know what's going on, it's definitely not a good thing. Yunyan fled the scene in a panic. But turning back to the topic, Yunyan still couldn't find the way back. When she was at a loss, a team of guards came in front of her. They should be patrolling, but Yunyan ran up without even thinking about it. Hey, excuse me. People speak first before they arrive. See Miss Union? No, it should be Princess Zaoran. The leader should be the captain or something. In short, a bit of identity, good looks, handsome. No need to be polite. I would like to ask where is. Union asked quickly. Is in the opposite direction from here. The person taking the lead was surprised at first and then answered politely. Thank you. After learning the direction, Union quickly went in the direction said by others. The person in the lead wanted to speak and stop, but held back. Seeing Union's back gradually disappearing, it seemed a bit inexplicably sad. Really rare, Miss Union. No, it should be that Princess Zaoran didn't greet him when he saw Shan Commander. It felt like it was strange. The guards behind him began to whisper. Yes, but also called the leader. Hello, did something happen between them? The guards behind you said something to me. From what they heard, the so-called single commander in their mouth seemed to know Union. Ahem. The leader, named Shan Zhen, is the commander of the Imperial Band. He became the leader at a young age, showing that his strength is extraordinary, and he and Union know each other? Shan Zhen coughed twice as a warning, and sure enough, the guards immediately calmed down. Continue patrolling. Yes. Cleared up again, Shan Zhen and the others started patrolling again. Chapter 2, The Storm of the Hunting Contest. But the other side, the person just said he was here, why couldn't he find it? Looking at the darkness and strangeness, Union was a little angry and impatient. Why is the palace so big? And I haven't even seen half of the ghost, what is it? Compared to my house, this is really outrageous. Union's narrative was broken and broken. The home she referred to refers to the reality. When she thought of this, Union was angry that she could not find her way, but suddenly she turned into sadness. Hanging his head, his expression is sad. Dad, tears slipped from her cheeks, her hands desperately wiped her tears, but she couldn't stop her tears. Union squatted down, hugged her knees and cried. In the silent night, the empty space should have been quiet, but she was crying. Break this peaceful space. Just as Union was crying with a headache, a figure quietly walked behind her. Looking at Union squatting on the ground and crying, she looked so lonely and so affectionate in the light of the night that the figure couldn't help but waver. Cry for a long time. The mysterious figure also stood for a long time. Union suddenly raised her head. Can't cry, I can't cry otherwise, Jun will know that I will be worried again. Union quickly picked up her mood, wiped her tears, and stood up. Who is Jun? A voice asked. Union was startled by the sudden sound, and immediately turned her head. It was a face that was cold and handsome, and could not be forgotten. Yes, he was the Prince Zhou Cheng. When Union looked at Zhou Cheng, she was surprised at first, and then realized that Zhou Cheng was looking with a dark and sharp eye. At oneself? An illusion? Are you here so? Union quickly returned to reality and hurriedly stood up and asked. I heard the sound, so come and have a look. Zhou Cheng replied coldly. When did you come here? Why don't you say hello? Union was a little angry, because of the sudden sound in the middle of the night. Of course she would be frightened. She was frightened by Zhou Yan during the day, and she was frightened by Zhou Cheng at night. Union couldn't help wondering if both of these brothers like to scare people. It's been a while. Zhou Cheng answered honestly. For a while. Then, what did you see? Union immediately became guilty. In fact, Union is not afraid of fear, but she wants face most. If someone sees her crying, then it's worth it. Why are you crying? Zhou Cheng even went straight ahead without even thinking about it, because for him, he has never liked turning around. After hearing Zhou Cheng's words, Union was a little bit mad and speechless. She should have turned into annoyance. If there are ground cracks, I really want to get in. How? Zhou Cheng is very curious about Union's behavior. No, nothing. Yunyan finally endured it. If she can't bear it, she will make a big plan, because there is still something to ask Zhou Cheng for help. His Royal Highness, do you know which direction is going to go from? Yunyan is not very familiar with the topography of the palace, and I hope that His Highness can give some guidance. The language is very polite, but the tone makes me feel like goosebumps are going to rise. The first time I used this kind of lines and tone, even if I said it myself, it was a bit unbearable. Are you lost? Zhou Cheng seemed to be very surprised, staring at Yunyan closely. Yunyan knew that she was lost, but she didn't want to just say it, feeling very shameless. Is Yunyan? Zhou Cheng was speechless, looking at Yunyan with an unbelievable look. What's happenin'? Yunyan naturally knew that Zhou Cheng was looking at herself, and asked uncomfortably. Are you Yunyan? Zhou Cheng asked suddenly. Yunyan stared at Zhou Cheng curiously, and didn't quite understand what he meant. Although she was not Yunyan herself, she is now Yunyan in the eyes of outsiders, so why did Zhou Cheng still ask? Didn't you always come and go in the palace since you were young? You should have known the size of the palace for a long time. Zhou Cheng's words remind Yunyan that she almost forgot. I am ashamed to say that Yunyan hurt her head a few days ago, so she has some amnesia. I forgot how to go. Yunyan quickly thought that since she appeared in ancient times and attached to Zhang Yunyan, her behavior, habits and all aspects were incompatible with the owner of the body, so she was said to be amnesia. Amnesia? Zhou Cheng looked surprised. Yes. So please forgive me, my lord, I hope you will have a lot of pointers. Yunyan decided not to spend more time with him. Then, have you forgotten what happened between us? Zhou Cheng was a little unbelievable. Yunyan looked confused. I know you like to make jokes, but you don't even need to move out for this reason. Zhou Cheng's tone dropped a bit. I'm not kidding. Looking at Yunyan's expression that seemed unfamiliar to herself and her words without the slightest lie, and then thinking about the scene when they met during the day, Zhou Cheng was stunned. Because Zhou Cheng did not speak, Yunyan also remained silent. Why amnesia? What happened? Zhou Cheng asked depressedly. I said I fell from the fence. I accidentally fell to my head. I don't know very well. Fortunately, Yunyan once heard later talk about the origin of her injury. Is that all right? Zhou Cheng looked a little concerned. Can I still stand here if something happens? Yunyan asked back. Zhou Cheng speechless. The two are silent again. Let's go, I will take you back to your bedroom. Zhou Cheng was the first to speak. No, you just need to tell me the direction. Yunyan declined. The palace is so big, there is still some distance from your dormitory from here. If you let you go by yourself, you will definitely get lost again. After that, Zhou Cheng took the lead and left. Looking at Zhou Cheng, Yunyan felt indescribable, but naturally followed. I wanted to leave this unfamiliar palace as soon as possible and return to but I was dragged by the queen to accompany him everywhere, but had no choice but to stay in the palace for a while, and Zhang Ren also sent Layer into the palace deliberately. Take care of Yunyan. After a long time, the queen also found Yunyan's abnormalities, but she also knew that Yunyan's head was hurt, and some of the abnormalities were unsurprising, so she didn't get to the bottom. Later, Yunyan also discovered that the queen was a very kind person. She loves Yunyan very much, and always hopes that Yunyan can marry one of her sons, but it doesn't seem to be so smooth, so she has to recognize her as a righteous daughter. Someday Xingxin came to Ferti sister Yunyan. Tomorrow is the annual hunting competition between our royal family and nobles, let's go and watch it together. Xingxin chatted very excitedly. Isn't hunting a game between men? It's not good for us to go. Although I said that, I actually wanted to go because Yunyan has always liked this kind of activities. You can also camp and eat game, but due to ancient rules, I have to leave it alone. What does it matter? I didn't say that we will go like this, Xingxin suddenly said with a smile. Yunyan doesn't quite understand what Xingxin means. After Yunyan understands what Xingxin said, it is already the day of the hunting contest. Looking at herself dressed as a man in the mirror, Xingxin and Lyre, who are also dressed in men's clothing beside her, and Xingxin's close-fitting maid, Xiaolu, Yunyan was a little at a loss. This is foolproof. Xingxin smiled excitedly. It turns out to be a woman disguised as a man. Yunyan did not feel disgusted, but rather agreed with Xingxin's ideas. Yes, there are so many people hunting anyway, so it will be easier for us to get in. Well, yes, it shouldn't be too late. Yunyan has some eagerness to watch the so-called hunting contest. It is forbidden to kill animals in this world, so I have never had a chance to experience it. This is a golden opportunity, Yunyan certainly does not want to miss it. Chapter 2, The Storm of the Hunting Contest. The Emperor and the princes have already been to the hunting arena, and the other kings and nobles have also gone. Xingxin and the others have also successfully sneaked in with the identity of the king and grandson. The hunting place is carried out in the forest outside the imperial city. Soldiers have been stationed around the forest. Little Miss, let's not get too close. Layer followed Yunyan and the others in a small corner of the hunting arena. Layer was very frightened and looked at the figures of Prince Wang and Sun all around, for fear that there would be thousands of people. It's over as soon as it's found. Is there anything to be afraid of? Yunyan and Xingxin are ready to go, just waiting for the emperor to order the game to start. But Lyre was still scared. Hey, you guys! Suddenly a male voice rang. Lyre and Xiaolu's hairs stood up in shock and closed their mouths. Don't underestimate over there, the game will start soon. A man who looks like an identity yelled at Yunyan and the others. Got it, Xingxin replied immediately, thinking she was discovered. Okay, don't worry about the two of you, just wait here, Yunyan said to Lyre and Xiaolu and rode towards the starting line of the race. All Prince Wang and Sun were ready on the same starting line. Of course, Zhou Cheng and Zhou Yan also participated. Drums rang to show preparation. As the rhythm of the drums became faster and faster, everyone's mood became more and more tense. The rhythm of the drums gradually slowed down from fast, until it stopped. As soon as the drum sound fell, a gong sounded to indicate the start of the game, and everyone started to rush towards the forest. Yunyan had practiced horse riding and archery in university, so she dared to participate, while Xingxin dared to participate because she practiced with her brothers since she was a child. In the competition, Yunyan and Xingxin both shot their prey, and the prey was picked up by the guards who were already on standby in the forest. However, the other kings and grandsons were not fuel-efficient lamps. Those who could come to the competition were naturally good players. Cheng and Zhou Yan are even more prominent and comparable. Shuttle through the forest, the horse runs continuously. Sister Yunyan is quite skilled, why haven't I heard that you are also good at hunting on horseback? Xingxin asked Yunyan, who was running ahead, while driving a horse. I have always liked horseback riding. I practiced archery in college. I would go horseback riding when I was in a bad mood. After riding, I feel better naturally. Yunyan on horseback feels different than usual. Now, it seems like you are enjoying the fun of running very much? The university. Xingxin feels a little puzzled about the word university mentioned by Yunyan. This, I will study with master or something when I'm fine. Yunyan hurriedly explained, but she didn't even know the meaning of the explanation. Oh? It was taught by Shan Tong. Xingxin's voice is a little bit envious. Although I don't know who Xingxin is talking about, I just go along with it. Suddenly, there is a commotion in the grass from the front. At this time, Yunyan and the others have come to a crossroad in the depths of the forest. Yunyan stops the horse immediately. Xingxin stopped when he saw it. What's the matter? Xingxin asked when she drove up to Yunyan's side. Shhh, don't make a sound. Yunyan seems to hear something. Signal Xingxin beside her to keep quiet. Xingxin was curious. Yunyan looked at the grass not far in front. The grass was shaking from time to time, as if he heard something groaning. So she got off her horse and walked towards the grass. Xingxin saw Yunyan get off her horse and had to follow. Yunyan carefully pulled the grass away, an injured little white tiger was lying on the side, moaning in pain. Yunyan carefully picked up the little white tiger. What a cute little white tiger, white is rare. Xingxin looked at the little white tiger in Yunyan's arms and said. Well, it's so pitiful, I got shot through my feet. Looking at Xiao Beihu's left hind foot firmly pierced by an arrow and blood flowing, Yunyan felt very distressed. But why is there a little white tiger here? Xingxin is a little puzzled, this kind of forest does not seem to be haunted by tigers. How can a little white tiger run out? I don't know, but you can't just leave it like this, or it won't be eaten by other beasts as food. Yunyan looked at the little white tiger in her arms distressfully and said. The little white tiger groaned in Yunyan's arms very painfully. But we can't take it away, or it will be discovered. Xingxin's worries are excusable. After all, they are also mixed and disguised as men, and it would be terrible if they were to be dismantled. Yunyan caressed the little white tiger in her arms pityingly. After considering Xingxin's words, she didn't know what to do. Moreover, they seemed to have completely forgotten their own situation and the surrounding environment. A cold-eyed eye was staring glaringly to them. Stayed for a while, and helped Xiao Beihu bandage his wounds, but Yunyan couldn't bear to leave Xiao Beihu here. After thinking about it repeatedly, I want to take it back with me. What? Yunyan's sudden bold topic stunned Xingxin and took Xiao Beihu away. Wouldn't this be equivalent to self-reporting of her identity? Don't worry, I won't bring it into the palace, just put it in the Prime Minister's mansion first. That's it, this is a good way. It shouldn't be too late. Let's leave as soon as possible. There are beasts everywhere. If you don't say anything, there will be dangerous beasts. Xingxin proposed, considering the surrounding situation. Xingxin took the lead and walked first. Yunyan hugged the white tiger and followed. The beast that had been lurking in the grass and staring at him for a long time finally started to take action. The moment Yunyan turned around, Xingxin rushed towards Yunyan. As soon as I got on the horse, I found this scene. Sister Yunyan, be careful. Xingxin's voice was more than shocked. Yunyan had just listened to Xingxin's reminder, only to realize that there was something behind her. As soon as she turned her head, what was waiting for her was what? The sound of tearing through the space instantly reverberates throughout the forest. What sound? Others were surprised by the sharp scream. Why does it sound like a woman's voice? No way! This place has already been blocked, how could a woman break in? There was a lot of discussion, but no one really noticed the meaning of this sound. Not far from the forest, the emperor is eating, drinking, and chatting with other ministers of travel. Later and Xiao Lu are very worried and await the return of the master. Many grandsons and princes are waiting to follow, so no one will notice them. Zhou Cheng and Zhou Yan, who were closer to the scream, were suspicious of the owner of the sound, so they rushed towards the source of the scream. The closer they were, the more vaguely they could hear the cry of the beast. The other kings and grandsons in the vicinity also gradually rushed to hear the sound. Where are Xingxin and Yunyan? A fierce tiger is roaring at Xingxin on horseback, and at the foot of the tiger, Yunyan, whose right shoulder is dripping with blood, and severely injured, is being trampled under the claws of the tiger, and is lying down. The little white tiger on the side. Yunyan's hair band has already fallen, her long hair is scattered all over the ground, and the place she lay has long been stained with blood. Yunyan's body trembles and twitches from time to time, and she has long been lost. Perception, this scene is really amazing. Beast, let go of Sister Yunyan. Although he shuddered with fear, Xingxin still bravely took out a bow and arrow to shoot at the tiger. However, the too scared and weak arrow did not hurt the fierce tiger at all, nor did it hurt him at all. On the contrary, it attracted the roar of the tiger. The tiger roared, and everyone around could vaguely hear it. Although Xingxin shot the tiger with an arrow, she failed to lure the tiger away from Yunyan. Xingxin was afraid to shoot at the tiger while crying, it was just her. How can the beast understand it? What happened? Two intersections, Zhou Cheng and Zhou Yan arrived at the same time. Xingxin? Why are you Zhou Yan was shocked when he saw the face of the man on horseback. Even if she is a woman dressed as a man, she is still a younger sister who has lived together for more than 10 years. There is no reason why she can't recognize it. Chapter 3, Prince Zhaoguo. I don't know how long it took, and the number of times the maids went in and out gradually decreased. Zhou Yan and Zhou Cheng had been waiting outside Yunyan's room after being bandaged and healed, and never left. His Royal Highness the second prince. It was not until the doctors came out that they awakened them. How is Yunyan's situation? Zhou Yan asked hurriedly. Back to the second prince, although Princess Zaoran passed out a few times, but combined with the strength of all our imperial doctors, it finally stabilized. Now only when the princess wakes up and takes the medicine can we say that she is completely out of danger. The senior leader, the Huayu doctor, replied. What if I didn't wake up? Zhou Yan asked. If I can't wake up in these 2 days, I'm afraid Huayu physician dare not go on, but he can guess it. How could this happen? Zhou Yan couldn't believe it. Zhou Cheng besides seems thoughtful. But his heart made him never stand by and watch Yunyan die like this. In the room, Xingxin has been watching Yunyan by the bed. I don't know how much she blames. And Yunyan was just asleep, her pale face could not see a little blood and anger. Dream once Shu'er escaped because he couldn't stand being watched. Unexpectedly, he encountered a gangster. During the gun battle, the Ajin was injured to protect Shu'er. Didn't you say you won't leave me? You lied to me. Shu'er slumped beside Ajun, crying and crying, and there were a few corpses around. Don't cry, it won't be beautiful if you cry. Ajun strenuously reached out to wipe the tears from the corners of Shu'er's eyes. I don't want you to die, I don't want you to die. Shu'er's cry from the heart. Fool, I won't die, why would I be willing to leave you and die? I still have to protect you. Ajun smiled hard. You didn't lie to me. Shu Er looked at Ajun with tears in her eyes. Of course. A wayward lady like you, besides me, can anyone protect me? Ahem. Ajun suddenly got worse when he was half joking. Ajun, promise me, don't leave me no matter what happens in the future. Before he could not speak, Ajun still wanted Shu'er to make a promise. I promise you, I promise you. Looking at the seriously injured Ajun, Shu Er agreed without any worries or hesitation. Thank you. I love you, Shu'er. After saying this, Ajun passed out. Ajun. Ajun, reality. Ajun. Ajun. Yunyan suddenly opened her eyes. In the room, Lyre was lying on the table and fell asleep, while Xingxin fell asleep beside Yunyan's bed, but the two woke up immediately when they heard Yunyan's voice. Sister Yunyan. Are you awake? Xingxin looked at Yunyan, who had opened her eyes with excitement, and she burst into tears of joy. Miss Lyre also ran over immediately. Xingxin, Lyre. Looking to the side and seeing that she was still in ancient times, Yunyan suddenly became sad. You finally wake up, Sister Yunyan. Xingxin crouched on Yunyan and cried. Yunyan didn't say anything, she just looked at the roof stupidly, her eyes dull. By the way, Lei Er, hurry up and inform the doctor and the Prime Minister. Xingxin hasn't forgotten Yunyan's injury, it's important to find someone quickly. Yes, yes. Lyre hurried away. Yunyan woke up and finally got out of the dangerous period, which made everyone breathe a sigh of relief. During Yunyan's sleep, Zhou Cheng looked for famous doctors everywhere for her, Zhou Yan looked for famous medicine everywhere for her, the Prime Minister's wife went to burn incense for her to pray for Buddha, and the Queen chanted Buddhist scriptures for her all day long. Fortunately, Huang Tian finally lived up to the expectations. Finally awake. Although Yunyan woke up, she was still not completely relieved, and the healing of the wound would take a very long time. After Yunyan woke up, Zhou Cheng, Zhou Yan, the Emperor, the Queen, and the great kings and nobles all came to visit her. After that, I have been in a rest period. The kingdom of Zhao, a country not far from the Great Zhou, the martial arts field in the imperial palace. The crown prince wins. Just finished a match, the referee announced. The crown prince won again. It's amazing, it's even better than before. The guards under the field are talking. A handsome and extraordinary man is wiping his sweat with a towel sent by soldiers. The queen is here. A voice noisy. A group of seemingly gorgeous crowds arrived, headed by the queen wearing a phoenix robe and a golden hairpin. Everyone who saw it knelt down. Please, peace. After the child gives the mother, Zion flattered calmly. The emperor's free gift. See the queen. Flat body. Thank you, queen. I have seen His Royal Highness' free gift. After the tedious red tape is over, looking at Zion, the queen looked very kind. Hwanger is practicing here every day after he has recovered from his injury. Your father and I are very worried. For the sake of Hwanger's health, don't be too reluctant. The queen stepped forward and picked up her Jinpai Zion to wipe the sweat that had not yet been wiped off, fearing that he would be a little bit tired. Urchin's injury has been healed a long time ago, and he has long been accustomed to practicing Qigong. If he does not practice suddenly, he will feel uncomfortable. Although the tone is calm, there is a little silence in the depths of the eyes. The injury mentioned refers to the fact that when Zhao Guo went to war with the enemy country, the crown prince of the First Imperial Conquest repeatedly made outstanding achievements on the battlefield and became a topical figure in the major countries, but was unfortunately injured in the final battle. He was once injured. After passing the Ghost Gate, he was suddenly resurrected miraculously. He was the first prince of the Zhao kingdom and the future prince. As long as the emperor is okay, in fact, this time I came to tell you that your future princess has returned to the country of Zhao and will come to the palace tonight. Your father hopes you can meet her. I don't need a concubine. When I heard of the concubine, Zai Hung seemed very disgusted. Don't say that, you were the one who asked her to be your concubine. Now you are the one who said that you want to cancel the marriage contract. Although you don't remember anything, she is a good woman. No matter what the reason is, I hope you can personally say it. Go tell her queen not only did not persecute Zion, but was very considerate to persuade. This should be the so-called heart of love. I understand. Zion seems to understand what the queen said. Chapter 3, Prince Zhaoguo. Then at night, the emperor hosted a banquet for the bachelor's family. Zion thought for a long time before finally figuring out how to face the woman who was going to be his concubine, changing clothes and coming to the banquet palace. Has the crown prince not come yet? The emperor whispered to the beside him. Yes, the minion will go and see. The received the order from the master and left soon. The crown prince is here. The just didn't walk a few steps, but the voice of other eunuchs outside the hall came. Zion, wearing a prince's robe, entered the hall majestically. Zion is late, please forgive me. It's not too late, let's get in soon. Zai Hung walked to an empty seat with the tableware and chopsticks ready. In fact, there were only 5 people sitting on the huge table. Long time no see, Your Highness. The woman next to Zion says hello to Zion. Hui. Shu Er. When just turned to look at the person beside her, she unexpectedly discovered that this woman was Shu Er. They look very similar, but if you look closely, they still feel a little different. Shu Er. The woman was curious. Emperor, did you forget Miss Lin after not seeing you for a while? The queen reminded. Oh? It's rude, Miss Lin. Zai Hung hurriedly woke up. In fact, Zion is a Jin, and he went to ancient times with the real Shu Er, but he has a different identity and a new look. Since everyone is here, let's start eating. The emperor immediately ordered the beside him to start serving. A meal ended like this before she knew it. When eating, Zion always thought of Shu Er from time to time. Was it because of wire? This meal made Zion tasteless. After eating, because it was too late, the emperor let Wei Er stay in the palace and stayed in the, accompanied by Yu Zion. Along the way, both of them were silent, one after another. His Royal Highness finally couldn't help it. Wire stopped and called Zion, who was walking ahead. Hearing Wire's yelling, Zion stopped naturally, but did not look back. His Royal Highness doesn't want to see Wei Er. From the beginning to the present, Wei Er can more or less notice that Zai Hung has no intention of looking at her at all, as if she does not exist. No. Then why don't you even look at Wire? Wer was very puzzled. Zion always chatted with her happily before and was very gentle with her. Why didn't she say anything this time? Something like keeping a distance? Feels a lot stranger. Zion didn't answer, and didn't know how to answer, because when he saw Wei Er he would think of Shu Er. I think you are so strange that I don't even know you. Weir's words seem to have ulterior motives, or that people who have been in love know each other's changes. Maybe, but this is not what I hope. If I can, I would rather not be the crown prince. Zion may mean that I just want to return to the army, so that I can stay with Shu'er, and I won't hurt such a skilled woman. It's just that this may never be possible. Weir did not understand what Zion meant, but she could feel the sadness and helplessness in Zion's heart. Then do you still love me? Weir wants to know, even if Zion changes, will she still love her? Zion could not answer, because he is not the real Zion. Maybe the real Zion loves her, but he is not, he only loves Shu'er. I'll go back today. Visibly understand Zion's doubts, Wei Er turned and left. Wait a minute. Zion subconsciously turned around and called Wire. Weir heard Zion's voice and stopped with a little hope. It's so late, and it's not safe for you to go back alone. It's better to stay in for one night. I'll send you back tomorrow morning. Zion considered the current situation, the crown prince is worried about it, and it's okay for Wei Er to go back alone. S voice trembled a little. I thought Zion would keep her, but I didn't expect to just say some polite words, which made Wei Er feel a little bit chill and walked forward without looking back. Looking at Wei Er's back, Zai Hung was a little bit disappointed. Stride to catch up and hold Wire. Don't go. Turn Vera around to see that she was crying silently. Tears slipped from his face, resisting the crying, looked at him with eyes full of sadness. Zai Hung was stunned. Why? Why do you want to catch up? Vil's sad voice sounded. In fact, Zion didn't know why, he just knew that he would have caught up when he reacted. Why? Although we were separated for half a year? But did you say that when you come back, we will get married? That's why I have dealt with my hometown and returned as quickly as possible. Wei Er cried, sadly. How could she not understand that after a goodbye, the two people who were so in love with each other will become so strange now? I'm sorry. Looking at Wei Er's sad expression, Zai Hung let go of Wei Er. He could only feel sorry, but could not do anything. No, I don't need your apology, I just want to know what changed you. Wei Er was even more sad. No, it should be your beloved Zion, it's not right. Simply put, I already have someone I love. Zion wanted to say it but couldn't talk about it, but he knew that no one would believe this reason, so he had to explain it in simple and easy-to-understand words. That person is Shu'er. Wire thought of the name Zion had called out before. Yes. Zion didn't dare to face Wire, and did not hesitate to answer. Who is she? When did you meet? Forcibly resisted the tears, Wei Er wanted to understand, what kind of reason changed her lover in a short period of time. You don't know, we have known each other for 2 years, Zai Hung said truthfully. 2 years? Weir was surprised, why did she never know? About half a year ago, Zion said that he only loves her and hopes that she will be his wife. Yes, it's a very wayward lady who I want to protect with my life. Listening to Zai Hung telling about Shu'er, Wei Er felt more distressed. It's just that we can't see each other anymore. Although love loves, it still can't change reality. Now he doesn't even know where Shu'er is, whether he's alive or dead. When Zion said that they could not meet each other, Wire was a little shaken instantly. You look a lot like her. At first, I thought she was in this era, but later I found out that it was impossible. Zion thought about the situation when she first met Wire. Weir did not understand what Zion said. What is this era? What is impossible? I only know that she and Shu Er look very similar. Sorry for hurting you, but I believe that the owner of this body, that is, Zhao Ziyan, loves you. From the behavior of catching up with Wei Er just now, it seems to be the body's own consciousness. Where doesn't even understand what Ziyan means. It's late, if you insist on going back, let me send you off. Out of Ziyan's intention, Ziyan decided to send Wei Er back. However, in the end Vir stayed. Neither Ziyan nor Wei Er slept this night, and they both had their own concerns.